Today I'm getting our camper meals ready before we head out on our camp trip. I love to prep everything at home ahead of time so that once we're camping, I can relax and enjoy the vacation too, without spending hours cooking. Now the first meal that I'm going to prepare ahead is sirloin steaks. Now, we don't eat steak that often, but we do prepare it when we go on our camp trips because it is easy to prepare ahead and it's easy to grill. Now, these steaks have a little bit of fat on them, so I do try and cut that off of the edge. And then they are a little too thick for us, so I also cut them in half, which is actually great for us because this gives us 10 steaks, and that way there is plenty for everyone. And then I add my marinade, and by marinade I just add seasonings like garlic, onion, salt, pepper, paprika, and then I use a drizzle of apple cider vinegar and a drizzle of avocado oil, and it's super simple, but it's so flavorful. Now, if you are looking to have a pre-made mixture, you could just get the Montreal steak seasoning, and it's pretty much the same thing. Now once I'm done, I just add it all in a gallon size zipper bag, and then I mix them around so that they're all well coated. And these will just sit in the fridge until we're ready to throw them on the grill at the campsite. But it'll be a couple days, so doing it this way makes it so they're marinated and so the flavor really soaks in. Now for our next meal, we're going to prepare some brats, and I like these ones because they have no preservatives, no MSG, no artificial flavors or colorings. I like that they're uncooked and it doesn't have all the added stuff that you would find in your typical pre-cooked brats. Now these ones I just get from Costco. Now I like to boil these to prepare them before the grill, which helps make sure that they are cooked through, and it keeps them juicy inside once we grill them. Because let's face it, nobody likes a dry brat. Now while the brats are on to boil, we are going to multitask and work on our roasted potatoes. I really like these little mini potatoes because they are the perfect bite-sized pieces. I like to rinse them off, and then I cut them in half lengthwise. And I am clearly not a multitasker. Okay, so I highly recommend paying attention to when you have brats on the stove, not to just let them go, and actually watch to see how they're boiling and turn the heat down when needed. And then I will go ahead and I will toss them in olive oil and my own seasoning blend. Now most of the time I mix up my own blends because store-bought ones can sneak in a lot of unnecessary additives and chemicals like anti-caking agents, MSG, and even hidden sugars. My goal is to always keep things clean and simple. Now, I'll be honest, normally I try to avoid plastic, but as part of my 90-10 rule where I eat from scratch and non-toxic 90% of the time, and I give myself a 10% grace for convenience, especially with travel, so I use these zipper bags. They save space in the camper fridge and make cleanup so easy. So this next one is one of our family favorites for summertime, and that is my Mediterranean turkey burgers. And these aren't just your regular turkey burgers. They have all sorts of good things in it, like some sheep's milk feta, and I use frozen chopped kale instead of spinach. You can use spinach if you'd like, but then it also has sun-dried tomatoes, red onion, oregano, garlic powder, and a little bit of salt. So they're quite tasty and everyone loves them. My eyes are watering. Now because this kale is frozen, I like to rinse it off in some warm or room temperature water to help it thaw out. And then I press it out to get out as much liquid as possible because you do not want the extra liquid in these turkey burgers because they will not stay put together if there's too much moisture. Now I've used fresh kale too, and it works just fine if you chop it up in small pieces as well. Now kale and sun-dried tomatoes give extra nutrients and antioxidants, while the feta adds protein and calcium. Now when it comes to seasoning with salt, I use Redmond's real salt the most often, and that is because it not only tastes great, but I like the fact that it's unrefined and natural, because unlike most table salt, which is heavily processed and bleached, Redmond's real salt is harvested from an ancient seabed in Utah and left unrefined, which means that it's not stripped of its natural minerals and it doesn't have any added caking ingredients or sugars or any other fillers that are typically found in conventional salt. Now, this kind of salt also contains over 60 trace minerals like magnesium, potassium, and calcium, which also help out with our electrolyte balance. Now, because of its mineral profile, many people find that real salt helps maintain their hydration better than refined salt, especially in warm weather or exercising or while detoxing. Now for this sheep's milk feta, I find this right in at Costco, and I like it because it's something that I can digest well. I tolerate it pretty well. I can't really handle a lot of the traditional cow's milk products, but for sheep's milk, I can tolerate it quite well. And if you guys are interested in this recipe at all, you can go over and find it on my website, which I will link in the description below.
Now, I highly recommend a burger press for the burgers, but you don't need one. You can use your hand and pat it out. But when I press them out, I put them on a cookie sheet with some parchment. With the parchment, it makes it easy to be able to take it off to grill it. But how I'm going to do it today, because we are getting ready to travel, is I'm going to layer parchment paper between each burger, and then that makes it easy so when we get to our destination, just to pull it out of the bag and get it right on the grill. I also pre-cut some parchment paper to make it easy for layering.
Now, one thing to consider about with these turkey burgers, if you're planning on using a burger press, is the type of turkey that you buy. What I have found is that the leaner the turkey, the better it will work in these burger presses. But if you buy a turkey that has a higher fat blend, then it's not going to work well and you're going to have a little bit of problems with sticking, which is what problem I'm having right now, because I did not get the turkey that I was expecting. I had Justin run to the store for me and he picked up a higher fat content, and it is just not working in this burger press. So I am going to have to hand pat them. I separate each burger with parchment paper too, so that they're easy to grab when we're cooking on our little Blackstone grill at our campsite.
So in total, I have 16 patties, and now I'm going to actually take this out to my deep freezer and I'm going to freeze them for a little bit until they're a little bit harder. It'll make it easier to get it in a bag. All right, these brats are still hot, so I'm going to put them in a glass dish and then I'll put them in the fridge. So for some lunches on our trip, we decided to go with egg salad this time, and since we have a new batch of laying hens that aren't quite laying yet, I actually had to buy eggs from the store. But I'm going to use a steamer pot. So it's water in the bottom and then it's got the holes in the top pan to hard boil the eggs, and then I'm going to shell all of the eggs and put them in a bag to take with us. That way when we go to make the egg salad, it will just be taking the eggs out and smashing them up and adding whatever we want to it. So it's super easy. And then one of the reasons why I do all of this food prep ahead of time, besides the fact that I don't like spending my vacation time prepping food, is the fact that our camper fridge is actually fairly small and I don't have a lot of space for ingredients. So I only really have room for the pre-made food. Doing it this way makes it so I can actually take more food and I don't have to find a store while we're gone. One of the lessons that I've learned about hard boiling eggs with fresh chicken eggs, which obviously these are store-bought, so it would probably be easy to do the traditional way, but with farm fresh eggs, it's actually easier to steam the eggs and then put them in cool water, and it helps the shell come off really easy. So there's my little tip. If you have farm fresh eggs, try steaming them instead of boiling them. So while we wait for the turkey burgers in the freezer, I'm gonna go ahead and make the sauce that is for the turkey burgers. And I do this a lot as a dairy-free option. I can't really tolerate cow dairy very well, but I can do things like sheep cheese, sheep milk, things like that. Now, everyone else is just fine. So I will either use the Daisy sour cream because this brand seems to not have all the extra ingredients in it. So that is a good thing. So sour cream, or you can use a plain Greek yogurt. Now this recipe is actually very delicious. Everyone in my family absolutely loves it, but it's super simple to make. So besides the Greek yogurt or sour cream, the ingredients in it are just lemon juice, garlic or garlic powder, dried dill, salt, and then for, I like to make it more like a tzatziki sauce. And so cucumbers are plentiful right now from our garden. So I'm going to peel these and dice them up, and then I'm going to put the cucumber in the cream sauce.
Now I'm pulling my turkey burgers out of the freezer. They're not quite frozen, they're just a little bit harder than what they were before. Now, like I mentioned earlier, if you have a leaner turkey, you won't have this problem. I don't do this very often. It's just when I have the turkey that is like this. But now I'll be able to put these right into the bags and stick them in the fridge, and then when we go to grill them, it'll be super easy just to pull them out for the grill. And for one of our side dishes, I am going to prep some roasted cauliflower. And by doing this, I just take this organic cauliflower, then I like to drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil, and then I'll add garlic, onion powder, salt, pepper, and lemon juice. And then I will just stir it until it's all evenly coated, and then it will be ready to put in a bag. So again, when we get to cooking on our grill, we will just be able to dump it right out on the griddle, and it'll be super easy.
Okay, so now I'm in the home stretch. The only thing that I have left to make is the Brussels sprouts. If you don't like Brussels sprouts, I get it. I don't blame you. However, the only way that my family eats Brussels sprouts is the way that I make them, and I use maple syrup. And you can have that, or you can find that recipe over on my website. I will link that in the description below for maple roasted Brussels sprouts, and they're delicious. So the full menu for this weekend is going to be the marinated steak with roasted potatoes, and we will have steamed broccoli. Then we have turkey burgers with roasted cauliflower. And then we have barbecue chicken, which I didn't have to prepare that in advance because we're gonna put barbecue sauce on it while we're cooking it. And then that is with mashed potatoes, and we'll probably just do chips or something with that. And then the last meal is a tri-tip. It's actually the one from Costco. They're pretty good. It's like a roast steak thing that we can just put on we have a little mini smoker grill. And we're just gonna take that, and then we're gonna pair that with a Mediterranean salad, which is also from Costco. And then we have some frozen peas. So we probably won't do everything in that order with the sides and stuff. We might mix them around depending on how we feel. But every day we have a protein, we have a green, and we have a carb. So there's all of that. And then I use like olive oil and things like that for a healthy fat. Then for our lunches, we're just gonna kind of glean off of what we have for leftovers. So I do have the brat like oiled in advance, so it's easy to put on the grill because we're gonna actually take our boat with us, and we have a little grill on the boat. So we'll probably do that for a lunch on the boat, and then we will have enough turkey burgers that are left over that we can have those for lunch as well. And then I have the hard-boiled eggs that we're going to turn into an egg salad sandwich. And for those that eat the gluten, we do Ezekiel bread, so they'll have egg salad sandwiches on Ezekiel bread. So all the way around is going to be way better than ordering out or having fast food every day. And with prepping, it just makes it so much easier, and we'll be able to thoroughly enjoy our vacation.